Hello everyone, welcome to Unit 1 on blood. I'm Mr. Harsh Purohit and I'm excited to take you through this important fundamental topic. Let's start with a thoughtful quote by Dwight D. Eisenhower. There is no glory in battle worth the blood it cost. This quote reminds us just how precious blood is, not only in life but also in medicine. Throughout his unit, we will understand the value of blood and the role of the blood as well as its composition. So let's start with a simple question. Why do we need to study blood? First of all, blood is a specialized body fluid with four main components: plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. It plays multiple roles, okay, which are already mentioned here. The first role is transporting oxygen and nutrients to lungs and tissues. This part will be done using hemoglobin, which is present inside the RBCs. Second function is forming blood clots to prevent blood loss. Second function is done by the platelets. Third function, fighting infections, which is done by, you can guess, which is WBCs. Fourth function, helping remove toxins from the body, which is done by the RBCs. And the last function, regulating body temperature, which is also done by the whole blood. When we talk about the blood flowing through your veins, arteries, and tiny capillaries, we call it whole blood. Whole blood is actually a mixture, about 55% which is plasma and 45% which is blood cells. These blood cells will include cells like RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. And it's also pretty amazing to realize that blood makes up about 7 to 8% of your total body weight. So, for example, if your weight is 60 kilograms, you're carrying around nearly 5 liters of blood inside you, constantly circulating, delivering oxygen and nutrients, removing waste, and protecting you from the germs. Your body is full of blood, which is truly a lifeline working around the clock to keep you alive and healthy. So, in this figure, you can see the three different layers. When we centrifuge the blood, the whole blood, it will create three different layers, in which the most abundant layer, which will be consisting of plasma, about 55%, it will have a in middle a buffy coat layer, which is including whole blood cells and platelets, around below 1%, and RBCs, which will be around 45%. This portion is also called as hematocrit. Now let's focus on plasma, the liquid component of blood. So plasma makes up about 55% of your blood. It is yellowish fluid that serves as a transport medium for nutrients, hormones, and waste products. Plasma is about 90% of water and 10% dissolved substances, which includes proteins like albumin, globulin, and fibrinogen, as well as lipids, carbohydrates, amino acids, antibodies, hormones, electrolytes, waste, salts, and ions. It plays an important role in carrying essential substances throughout your body, maintaining blood pressure and volume and supporting immune functions. Without plasma, your blood cells would have no way to travel through the body, and the exchange of vital materials wouldn't be possible. Red blood cells, which are also called as erythrocytes, are the most common cells in our blood, making up to 40 to 45% of its volume. Their shape is unique, a biconcave disc with a flattened center, much like a donut. You probably have ate a donut. The production of red blood cells is controlled by a hormone called erythropoietin, produced mainly by the kidneys. These cells start as immature forms in the bone marrow, and after about 7 days of maturing, they are released into bloodstream to perform their essential functions of carrying oxygen. Now, you will have a lot of questions such as how this biconcave disc looks like. Also, what is the meaning of bone marrow? And other questions such as what is the meaning of immature cells? These all things we will study in the further slides. This is the microscopic image of red blood cells stained on a slide. Notice how the cell appear round with a pale center. This is the typical for healthy red blood cell. A normal blood smear look like this, and any significant change in the shape or size may suggest a blood disorder. This is also blood cells, RBCs, which are flowing through a blood vessel. You can clearly see their unique biconcave disc, which helps them carry oxygen efficiently throughout the body. The smooth movement and flexible structure allows these cells to travel even through the tiniest capillaries. White blood cells or leukocytes are the body's protectors against infection, but they are much fewer in number, around 1% of the blood cell. Most common white blood cells are neutrophils, which acts quickly to fight infections and accounts for 55 to 70% of all white blood cells volume. However, each neutrophil only lives less than a day, so our bone marrow constantly produces more neutrophils. Another major type in lymphocyte. Okay, lymphocyte is the second major type of white blood cell, which comes in two forms. First one is T lymphocytes, second one will be the B lymphocytes. So the T lymphocytes, which will be regulating the immune functions and attack infected or cancerous cells, while on the other hand B lymphocytes, which makes antibodies to target invaders like bacteria and viruses. This illustration shows the main types of blood cells, including neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, monocyte, and lymphocytes. Each type has a unique appearance and specific function in immune system. For example, neutrophils are most abundant and respond quickly to infections, while lymphocytes are crucial for producing antibodies and targeting invaders. Together, all these white blood cells protects our body from disease and infection. Now, it's interesting to note that transfusion of neutrophils, which is one of the main type of white blood cells, is generally not effective. Why? This is because Neutrophils do not stay in the body for long, as we have already discussed that they have a very short lifespan, often less than a day. Moving on to the other major group of white blood cells, which are lymphocytes. So we have already discussed about this, T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes. Platelets or thrombocytes are not actually cells but small fragments of the cells. Their main job is to help with blood clotting. Whenever there is an injury, platelet rush to the site, stick to the vessel wall and help form a clot that stops bleeding. Having too many platelets can cause unnecessary clots, potentially leading to strokes or heart attacks, while too few platelets can result in excessive bleeding. Thanks to modern medicine, there are now therapies to manage platelet disorders effectively. If you have more platelets than normal, your blood can clot too much, which may cause a dangerous problems like strokes or even heart attacks. Again, there are medicines which are called as antiplatelet therapies which can help prevent this. This image shows a blood sample in a tube which is placed on the top of the CBC report. A CBC report lists all the important values such as count of all blood cells, hemoglobin levels, all the white blood cell differential counts, and red cell indices. Now, for now on, maybe you do not know the meaning of blood cell indices. You will understand that in upcoming slides. So doctors use these numbers or count of the blood cells to check for any abnormalities in your blood, which can help diagnose various diseases like anemia or infections. Each parameter gives us insights into the health of your blood and overall body. So basic procedure of CBC, starting from blood collection. Okay, before blood collection, preparation of blood collection is very important. This includes preparation of all the required materials for blood collection. This again we will look into the next slide. So the first blood is drawn from a patient and then it will centrifuge to separate plasma, white blood cells and RBCs. Next, a blood smear is prepared on a slide and it will be stained to help visualize the cells under microscope. The CBC not only counts red and white blood cells and platelets but also includes differential count. The meaning of differential count, so the meaning of differential leukocyte count, meaning to count each and every type of the white blood cells differently. Now, currently we have advanced machine which are called as automated cell counters to perform CBC tests quickly and accurately. These analyzers can count thousands of cells in just few seconds. They provide precise measurement for all different blood components, minimizing human error. Automated cell counters now come in various types such as 3-part, 5-part and 6-part, which we will discuss in upcoming slides. So the complete blood count can provide a lot of important information to the doctors. Specifically, it gives the percentage of total RBCs present, which will be called as hematocrit, the content which is present as protein, the hemoglobin, white blood cell, and platelets. It will indirectly or directly tells even if any patient has anemia, infection or any other disorders. The platelet count and plasma clotting tests such as PT, APTT, TT may be used to evaluate bleeding and clotting disorders. So the doctor can also tell you to perform blood smear, which is a way of looking at your blood cells under microscope. So in this image, you can see there are two smears which are currently made. A very good smear, you can say it is a tongue-like structure. This is a normal blood smear in which you will find a regular round cells with having a pale center, just like we seen the image previously of the RBCs. Variation in size or any shape can suggest a blood disorder.